Hi, so this is intended to help you understand what is the swim lane process, how to use it, how does it compare to RACI, and some shortcuts that will make your life a lot easier, save a huge amount of time, be able to get to the most strategic work sooner than later. So here goes. So think about a swim lane as when you're in the water, you know to swim, it's very easy to go in the lane. Much harder to go in someone else's lane, never mind trying to swim on the lane. So this analogy is intended to help you understand what is in your lane of work, what is in someone else's lane to help delineate that clarity for role and responsibility and accountability, as well as to help quickly identify where does it get fuzzy. So here's how it works. When we start looking at defining it, the metaphor is really helping you understand what's the work that only you can and should be doing. What's the work that only two people should be doing or a team? And when you start getting that delineation, it just makes life so much easier. The process outcomes, here's the quick part of it. It's really about clarity, building clarity about what's in and out of scope for individuals and teams, and so how you can afford to work with far greater efficiency and impact. Understand and align on the gray areas. This is the part I think that the clients find so helpful, is that this is the way to quickly understand where are we confused, where is it creating the most agita or frustration, or where we end up spending way more time than we need to. And if we just had this conversation, it would be that much faster and better. And the last part of it is creating a common language so you can quickly get into knowing, oh, that's a conversation we had when we were talking about swim lanes. Remember, that's on my part. I own that. I'll make life easy here, for example. So you'll start seeing how this works very quickly here. So in preparation for this, if you are in person, if you notice I put a note here, it's really great to do this in using flip charts. The old-fashioned flip charts and post-it notes, you can't beat it. And put, just like at the top of a swim lane, each person's name or each team, and use the post-it notes and start brainstorming all the work. Now, if you're virtual, consider using, for example, Google Sheets, Teams, Zoom has it now where you have shared documents, whatever works. The last part is stay really clear and objective, keeping perspective that no one has it all figured out and that you're here with best intentions and to ensure alignment. And remember, you're not solving world hunger. Keep it flexible and open. And I think you're going to find you're going to have much greater success this way. The next piece, the process. How do you do this? So a lane can start with an easy responsibilities, and I actually highly recommend you start with the easy low-hanging fruit. What do I own? What do you own? What do we own? What do they own? And then when you come into the sticky areas, that's where you start putting the post-it note on the swim lane, so you can come back to the places that are a little more sticky. Once you are done with the easy stuff and you get into the harder stuff, you start identifying quickly. It doesn't mean you have to solve for it. And this is a really important part of this process. Don't solve for how we're going to figure it out. Just identify these are the things that are on the lanes that are causing challenge. After you do all the brainstorming, then do this piece. Prioritize the areas of conflict, because this is going to help you focus on which are those things that have the biggest conflict, that are the biggest impact, that trip us up the most. That if we can solve this, and it might just be one thing, it will make this hour or half hour or a day all worthwhile. That's a really important piece of this. And then we get to the next one is, how do you know when you're done? You'll know you're done when each of the areas that have greatest challenge, you've identified where do they go. Each person shares the same view of the work and the results. You'll understand from a perspective of, we've addressed what we need to address. You may also realize you might need more time for this, and that's okay too. Last piece is you have a huge clarity about understanding of what are the biggest challenges and who needs to be doing what now, and how do you decide it. The next piece is, how is this different than RACI? For those of you who are not familiar with RACI, but a lot of people do this with this process, RACI stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consult, and Info. Personally, I find the consult and info piece a little challenging. It's very easy to say who's responsible for this. And it might be strategic sponsorship. Who's accountable for actually getting the work done? Whose butt is on the line? And then who do you need to just, make sure you're talking with ahead of time about it, get their input. And the info part is who you just need to share it so that you're keeping them abreast. When you do this and you dive into the details of it, if you start with the swim lane process and start this and doing like a half hour of it, it will give you a huge wanted head start on the RACI work, because the RACI work can get tedious quickly and you want to stay high level, fresh, and focused on this work. The last part, saving huge amounts of time. This is really critical. The next piece, and when you're done with this, you got to take a pause and go, okay, we're done. Look what we accomplished. And take into account what worked about this. What is it that you were able to solve today? By acknowledging and celebrating, you're going to see how fast and how much further ahead you are now than when you started the process. And take a look back to, did you accomplish what you said you wanted to accomplish? And what should be easier now because of it? These are just great questions for you to take in and honor your progress, which is always important. In closing, parting thoughts, I always say, like, suffering is optional and progress is powerful. So for the larger groups, when it's really complex, you've got to set aside time, and it's really best to have a facilitator help you through this. They'll help you stay on track. Know that it is all about progress, not perfection. You are never going to get this perfect, but good enough is good enough. And know that you have to set a timer and just kind of do rapid popcorn way initially to get it going, and you're going to see huge results quickly. Enjoy gaining clarity, because this is the piece that makes it really fun, is you're going to start seeing how much you actually do have progress with, where you're stuck, where you're prioritizing now the focus, and be able to do the deep dive where you need to do it. This never ends, and this is always part of a journey of a leader's executive leadership and leadership teams. You're always going to need this tool. So just have it in your hip pocket. And the last part here is, remember, there is no one right way. Make this your work, use it, share it as guidelines, and enjoy the process. And have fun. Ciao.